Well, I'm going to tell you a story about the Fullerton ghost. Her name is Carol. She's a very interesting person, and she appears sometimes when we do productions. The last time Carol was here on campus was when we were doing one of Dr. Carey's productions, which was full of oral histories, See Me at the Peach, years ago. And there was a student who was out actually telling this same story, depicting me, talking about Carol. And the lights went off 2 separate times out of the 3 productions, and nobody knew why. But in a nutshell, Carol was a student here when Sharon and I were students in the late 70s. We were all in a production of Romeo and Juliet, and Carol was Juliet, and it was in the spring. And we had a week off for spring break, and Carol and some other friends went to Florida to scuba dive. And the last thing the director told her was to be careful. Well, when Carol got down there, she got involved in an accident, and she drowned. So when we all found out about it, we all had a first night rehearsal after spring break, and it was decided that her roommate, Mary Hunt, would take over the part of Juliet, since Mary sort of knew it because she was stage manager. So when she took over the part, everything was fine. We went through our final rehearsals, and on dress rehearsal night, we were sitting on stage getting notes from Paul Homburg, who at that time was the theater professor. And at the end of the notes, we sort of all sat, and we were kind of thinking about Carol and hoped that she would be with us for the next performance. And then all of a sudden, we saw Carol walking across the front of the stage in the same costume that Mary had on, sitting right in front of her as Juliet at the end. So Carol walked across the front of the stage, stood and looked at Mary and smiled and walked across the stage. Well, it was about 30 seconds after that, and finally someone said, "I can't stand it any longer. Did anybody see Carol?" And then people started saying, "Yeah, I saw her. And come to find out, everybody sitting there had seen Carol. And so we really think that she just came back to just give her approval of Mary being Juliet and of that production being presented. And it was a real tribute to Carol. Carol was an art major. She wasn't a theater major, but she was very involved in it. And so years later, when I told that story, Dr. Carey used it, and Carol didn't appear, but she knew we were talking about her because she made the lights go off. And the people running the light board had no clue what was happening because according to their instruments, the lights should be on, but they weren't on stage. So quite an interesting story. So Carol is still around, we think.
That's scary.
It is scary.
I don't really want that to happen when I'm doing this.
We can do it on stage.
I don't care. Oh, that's scary. Okay.